Let us not dawdle, for there are grudges to settle, and new entries in the Dammer's Cron to right!
Howdy, howdy. Suitable here, and welcome to an online ladder match against the Skaven. Now, we've had a chance to do some testing against some Skaven units, and we've been looking at really specifically Warplock Jezzails and those Doomflayers specifically, and how to handle them. How can the Dowie deal with them? So this is tried to make a balanced build because it's, I didn't want to go all in on one thing. So very, very basic front line on this build. I just have Dwarf Warriors up at the front, 5 units they can handle. Pretty much any front line that's tossed up against us, unless it's something really, really heavy, but they'll be fine in the front. My leadership is something that is new. I've gone with Clan Angren. I do have a basic Rune Lord. All he has is the Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin here, and he's on foot. I didn't bring him on his anvil because I don't think you're going to see lots of magic against the Skaven players anymore, like a lot of artillery and a lot of stuff like that. And Doomflayers don't have magic, don't do magic damage, neither do Warplock Jezzails or Rattling Guns, so I don't think it's needed. It's nice to put him up on that mount to give him that large bonus in case so that he's not infantry size, in case Quick Head Taker is picked, which is a very common pick in this. But I thought I'd bring him on foot and bring beside him. The reason I took Clan Angren is to take Throny Ironbrow, the rune smith from our ethereal units. Now, the one thing that he does is he does cause fear and terror, which is going to be quite useful against the Skaven, and he has 75% physical resistance. So the one ability I did bring with him is Rune of Negation, which is 22% damage resistance, a ward save for 25 seconds, and it basically gives him 97% immunity every 90 seconds for 25 seconds. He's unkillable for a little while. And of course he has Rune of Wrath and Ruin. The idea with these two guys having their Rune of Wrath and Ruin and Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin, of course, is to stack them on a Doomflayer or Doom Wheel and pin them in place with miners or our other units and get either our Dragonback Slayers there to wail on them, or to get a surprise attack with our Rangers with great weapons and our Ulthar's Raiders, of course, with Marked by Ulthar. So that's sort of our Doomflayer setup. We do have in our backline 4 miners, and of course our miners are our anti-large contingent. They're really strong if they're allowed to wail on Doom Wheels or Doomflayers. And we have our other anti-large, our Longbeards with great weapons, again decent in that role, and they can encourage the miners. And we have the Dragonback Slayers, which are always a fantastic unit in the back line. And we have 2 gyrocopters. I'll talk about those in a sec. And then our Rangers, and we do have, of course, the 2 bolt throwers, because we know those are really strong against Warplock Jezzails. And even if you can't see the regiment right now, and you can target the ground where it looks like they're shooting from and get some damage in. And the idea of this actual deployment is I do have also 2 gyrocopters, and these are just gyrocopters with the steam cannons. Really, they're meant to do any kind of scouting. So because usually you always get Vanguard deployment with Skaven. So I'm just going to run them back here and then run them all the way up. That's the plan. Run them back here and run them all up. And look at what we got here. Of Skaven Vanguard deployment of the Night Runners with slings. Alright, now this is a completely crazy Skaven army. It's so Skaven. Like, since the changes, like, this is exactly how the Skaven should look. Skaven slaves. Skaven slaves. Well, we got some Skaven slaves here, and we got some Skaven slaves here, some Skaven slaves here, and behind them we got some clan rats. We do have a Plague Priest and Ikit Claw, and he is on a Doom Wheel. And back here we have Skaven slave singers. We have clan rats, clan rats, clan rats, clan rats, clan rats, and Skaven slave slingers. And here is the meat and potatoes of this army. The Wheels of Doom, the Regiment of Renown Doom Wheel. He has 2 Doomflayers, plus a 3rd, which is the Regiment of Renown, the Dwarf Thing Menace. Of course, it must be in this battle. And he also has Ikit on a Doom Wheel. So we really have 5 Doom Wheels to deal with. And we know we can't hit these Doomflayers with artillery. You just can't hit them. They're too fast, too small to hit. So anyways, I'll get things going and we will start running the battle. So first things first, I'm going to send my gyrocopters back here. Again, they're just going to take a look, and then they can run up. I'm going to send these guys back here, and I do not see these guys. This is so Skaven. Like, I'll go back here. Surely I'll see everything. I don't see them in the trees, and I start going back. Now, my bolt thrower starts shooting, and I'm noticing like slaves. Oh my god, clan rats. There's nothing to shoot here. So I tried to pick a target. I already got my shots off. I'm shooting slaves. I do not want to shoot Skaven slaves. So I try to pick a target back here, and then I think I notice Ikit Claw coming up. So I will see. I got the target on Ikit Claw. I'm going to try and shoot into him. I'm going to find a place for my Dwarf Warriors just to get engaged and to make a little space and get my Rune Lord and my Rune Smith up. I just want to make sure I'm getting some shots in with my bolt throwers and bringing up the rest of my armies. I don't know how I'm going to deal with these. The first thing I got to try and do is deal with these Doom Wheels. I don't know if he's going to bring Ikit Claw in, but I just want to be ready to trap one of them and try and burn him down as fast as I can. So I'm going to bring him up. I'm going to get these guys engaged. I think I'm going to start giving these guys orders right away. So we have these shots going to Ikit Claw. He's just duck, dive, dodge, dipping, and diving. And then here we go. I'm just going to get this going. I'm going to start engaging, and I'm going to get my gyros out. And I want to just sort of get my gyros in the right place, but unfortunately I'm going to forget them here. Things start to get crazy and intense extremely fast. So he comes in with this. So here we go. I just wanted to muck him up with the miners, and I go Rune of Wrath and Rune. We got Master Rune of Wrath and Rune. His speed is down to 8, and I'm bringing in my Dragonback Slayer. So I've got him trapped. So I'm going to try and get him, but already this dwarf thing menaces in through my front line and coming to my back line. He's got this Doomflayer coming to my back line. So I'm going to try and bring these guys up to try and get into this Doomflayer. So I'm just going to target them, and I'm going to try and get the target on them. And then we have another Doomflayer in the back already on my Bolt Thrower Artillery, and I think his priest has some summons. I think I'm just going to slow it down and just look at what his Plague Priest has. I'm sure he has some summons. Yep, Pestilent Birth for Plague Monks. We're going to see that. And Vermintide. And then he just has a Frenzy. I never looked at what Ikit Claw had. He probably has one spell. I think. I know which one it is. Unlimited Power. Oh, he does have the Brass Orb. Okay, so he has more than one. Howling Warp Gale. Very nice pick. Warp Lightning. And Musk of Fear. And yeah, that Musk of Fear is minus 13 melee attack for 8 seconds every time he casts it. It is actually unbelievable. So here we come. Clan Rats into the back line. Clan Rats will eat Uthar's Raiders alive. Clan Rats will beat up my Bolt Throwers, and they're already coming in the back line. So we'll hit play and keep on going. So at this already, and I'm seeing these guys, and they're shooting in, and I'm just kind of panicking. I'm like, well, I've got to get something on these guys, so I'm going to bring both of my gyrocopters in to try and shoot these guys in the back and try and push them back. And I'm furiously, he's already got, this guy is, where is he? There was a Doom Wheel over here, it's already gone. But he's already got it, and he's replaced it with freaking Clan Rats. With all my Dragonback Slayers, which is just the absolute thing I don't want. Like, Clan Rat Spears and Slaves, and these are the things I don't want on my Slayers. And now he's going to start shooting with the Skaven Slaves into the back of my Dragonback Slayers. I'm trying to push out my Dwarf Warriors and don't even have these guys engaged. These Doom Wheels are all over the damn place. They're running through my Rangers. They're routing everything because they cause fear and terror. I do have my Longbeards with great weapons here. I'm trying to push down his Plague Priest. I'm going to get my leadership over to try and at least get to his Plague Priest and knock him down. I've got my Gyrocopter here taking shots at these Night Runners, but we've got, this is perfect. Slaves are back here. They're gonna mosey these Uthar's Raiders off, Bolt Thrower off, and Rangers with great weapons off. Another Clan Rat's going to do the same. I'm in here fighting against the Plague Priest with these Miners, and I think, what do we got? Throny, and I do want to get my leader back here because I at least want to try and knock him out of the battle. And I keep clicking my damn Dragonback Slayers to attack his Wheels of Doom, but the Slaves are just in the way. The Clan Rats and the Slaves, I just cannot move anywhere. And he's just coming back here, finish off these Dwarf Warriors with this Doomflayer. You can see he's just easily wiping them up. We do have some Dwarfs rallying up here. I am going to send them at least to try and push up here and at least get engaged with these Skaven Slaves to try and get them all in one ball and at least trying to fight. I am going to try and do a bombing run up here very, very shortly, and at least get my bombs dropped. I have all of my leadership in here fighting this Plague Priest. I do have my buffs going off. I'm periodically picking a place to put my Master Rune of Wrath and Rune. I've got an Ikit Claw, and I'm furiously clicking to try and get them to come after Ikit Claw while he's at least a little slower, and then I can slow him right down and do some damage. But he's just pulling right through, and you know, there's not much we can do from this point. Really, I'm just going to try and get some fighting in out of spite, because I'm a dwarf, and I would rather fight to the last and kill as many slaves and Skaven as I can. Just give up. Clearly, it's over at this point. But I'm going to keep fighting. He's bringing in his Ikit Claw. He's got Clan Rats, the Doom Flayers, and they are just going to go to town on our Rune Lord and Throny. I still couldn't get my Dragonback Slayers over. Now they got the Dwarf Thing Menace here. I do click on it, but it is surprising how these Clan Rats and slaves just muck everything up. It is impossible to deal with those guys. Yeah, I think I'm going to go here and just do a bombing run. Just out of spite would be what that would be. Just to try and get some bombs on these Clan Rats. Not that it matters, because they're Clan Rats. I'm going to try and bring some of these guys back routing. I do want to sort of put them in a pile, because I got Longbeards and stuff in my Bolt Thrower crew, and I want to try and rally these guys, at least get a group right back here to try and do something off here, and then I can at least support my Gyrocopters off here. But my Dragonback Slayers are over here. I think I'm trying to chase down, yeah, this Dwarf Thing Menace. I'm just getting shot in the back casually by these Skaven Slave Slingers, because they got nothing better to do but kill Slayers, which they can do at will. And I have lost my leadership. Throny is fighting valiantly here. He does cause fear and terror, but yeah, it's not working right now. And that is pretty much the game. So everything is routed. The game is over. I'm just going to fast forward it, because we did have a chat. We were chatting at this point, and we had a long chat before the game, and we were kind of sort of talking about the build. I'm telling you, I love this new Skaven. They're really hard to beat when they can kind of go all in, yet still feel the 20 sack. And for those of you who don't know, like, you'll recognize Dr. Krumpenstein for sure. Top 100 player, world-class player, plus a fantastic person. We actually had a long chat before this game started, and we were just chatting back and forth. He's like, yeah, I kind of recognize you. You recognize me? And I'm like, yeah, I kind of recognize the name, but I'm not sure where. So I know I've seen him on 100 casts, right? Because he plays pretty regularly. And then we had a long talk afterwards about this build and about where the Skaven are. And then, like, this is so Skaven. A bunch of slaves just to take bolt thrower bolts, gyrocopter, steam, you know, axes in the face. I don't care what these guys are doing. They're just mucking everything up so the big boys, the Doom Flayers and the Doom Wheels, can go to work. And of course, a Plague Priest with the summons. Honestly, I didn't notice the summons. I know the summons were being summoned, but it did not. That did not turn this battle. Look at these guys: 64, 93, 80, 46, and 60 with Ikit Claw. I tried to put pressure on Ikit Claw, and I tried to put pressure on the regiment around Wheels of Doom, and I didn't even get them to half health. You know, the Gyrocopters, I don't know if they're the right for this build, and you could argue Brimstone guns are better. Really, they just serve the purpose to be sort of like, they serve the same purpose as just regular Rangers or Quarrelers, sort of that non-AP missile damage. They aren't meant for that, because I have no Rangers and Quarrelers. I do have Rangers with great weapons, and these Uthar's Raiders. They only got 11 and 28, but they just got stomped on right away. I really didn't get a whole lot of chance to send them to go to work with them. Dragonback Slayers did fine, but you know, they killed a bunch of slaves, which wasn't really useful. They might have got a few hits on this Doom Wheel, because we did trap them pretty good at the beginning, but just could not hold it down. Miners are miners, and this is what they're for. They're there to get in the way. This build, I think, can probably handle 2 or 3 Doom Wheels or Doom Flayers, but, you know, 3 to 5, there's just no way. They just cannot handle it, because the build is meant to kill one of them quickly, to catch them, with the double Rune of Wrath and Rune to slow them down, and then to make them so they can't go any faster with the Dragonback Slayers for a longer period of time, or to just absolutely burst them down with Rangers, which you can do. And then you only have 1 or 2 left, and it's much more manageable. Because the Bolt Throwers just can't hit Doomflayers. I mean, we've tested that. We know it can't, but it can hit Doom Wheels just fine, which is why we were aiming at them Doom Wheels. But so many Slaves, there was just nothing good to shoot at aside from these things, which were really hard to hit and really hard to get to. Now, I think you can argue on this build, bring a bunch of Thunders, definitely possible, and I think Thunders are good. You know, obviously that armor piercing is going to put some hurt on the Doomflayer, is going to put some hurt on the Doom Wheels, but to counter a build like this with the Dao-E, you would have to go all in against this build, and as soon as you're all in against this build, you're going to be really susceptible to Jezzails and sort of that less aggressive Skaven build, which is one of the great things that I think Dr. Krumpenstein was saying he really loved and I really love, is the Skaven are so Skaven. You can't plan for one build anymore. They have a ton of builds they can bring to the table. This is obviously going to be the toughest one. I think we demonstrated Bolt Throwers are ample against the Jezzails. Maybe it's not worth bringing a build like this to be ready for Jezzails and just building 100% for Doomflayer. So I'm going to be able to go back to the drawing board and think about the build that can try and deal with this sort of Skaven build. And we're definitely going to work on it. Love the build. Thank you, Dr. Krumpenstein. And hope you guys found that interesting, and looking forward to your comments below. I always ask for comments because that is, that is the most satisfying part of doing this, is getting those comments and having the discussion in the comment section below. How has your online ladder battles been? Have you faced the Skaven with the Dao-E yet? And what has been your experience? Have you played the Skaven against the Dao-E? How has it been? Is this the type of build that you're using? Are you using more Jezzails and Rattling Guns? Definitely like to hear from you below. And with that said, I hope you found it interesting, and I will see you soon.